So, welcome to Loose and Headspace, the podcast where mental health and sports intersect. I'm your host, Daddy Rich,
I'm your co-host, Tay.
and we got our guy.
Levine.
There we go. So we're doing a little different. As y'all can see, our guy Blake is not in the studio with us. So this will be our first virtual interview. So we're going to see how this goes. But for the listeners that may not know who you are and what the Magnolia Shine podcast is, which is your podcast, of course, let them know a little bit about that podcast and yourself.
Yeah, so I've worked, in all kinds of places. I've worked for different news stations. I guess some smaller outlets and stuff like that, and then some bigger outlets. And then, I some personal life came, and I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? And I'm trying to find, a regular job, you could say, a regular job. And I had this hobby that I love, Mississippi sports, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I just talk about it and film myself and see how that goes? And it turned into a fun hobby, and I enjoyed it, and people enjoy it, so I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, like that. And then so you are not from Mississippi, correct?
No, I'm not originally, no.
Okay, where are you from?
I'm originally from Los Angeles. So you ever see like the scenes of like that pier in Santa Monica, like in the movies with the Ferris wheel and all that in Los Angeles when they show like, I don't know, Laker games and they show like the beach with the Ferris wheel? Yeah, I grew up about 3 minutes away from that.
Oh, that's cool, dude.
Mm-hmm. It's different.
Yeah,
it's a little bit different.
Yeah, so with that background, like how'd you end up covering Mississippi sports? Like what about our sports attracted you?
You know what? I can't lie to you. I wouldn't say there was an attraction. It was kind of by chance, right? Because it wasn't like, oh, I saw Mississippi. Ooh, I want to work there. It was more of I was working in Tallahassee, Florida as a news producer / news reporter, and I really wanted to do sports. And they didn't hire me, and that's okay. Maybe I wasn't ready at that time. And so I was going to take whatever the first job was, whoever offered it to me. I didn't even care. I wasn't going to research the job. I wasn't going to see where it was. I wasn't going to, check to make sure that it was good people or anything like that. It was just, oh, I'm going to take it and I'll figure it out. And Greenville, Mississippi called, the Delta News in Greenville called and said, hey, you want to come here? And without even looking up Greenville, Mississippi, and I had no idea where I was going, I went. I was shocked and surprised, but absolutely loved it.
Okay, I like that, man.
I can imagine.
Yeah, off topic real quick. Like, what was the biggest culture shock for you when you got there?
Oh, so even in Tallahassee, which is about the size of Jackson, Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
It's relatively close. For me, it was maybe that like, okay, I want to go get Chinese food today. Back in California, back in Tallahassee, you could go to this Chinese place. You could go to this Chinese place. But when you were in Greenville, Mississippi, you just went to the Chinese place. Like there's no like option. It was either you either got Chinese food from this place or you didn't get it tonight. There was no other option. Sure, there were a few different barbecue places or stuff like that. But when it came to like culture food, it was a lot of just one option. I think there were 2 Mexican restaurants. So maybe you had a little bit of a coin flip for that.
Yeah, that's how across Mississippi we got 3. 3 Mexican restaurants.
Hey, 3 is a lot. 3 is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, they always crack down 15. But what motivated you to start the Magnolia Shine podcast?
Yeah, I think for me, I was just trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And I guess I'm still kind of there in some aspects. But I think for me, it was more just that I wanted to keep talking about something because I wasn't going to be able to work, where I was before. And I was like, well, how am I going to stay engaged? I got this huge platform on Facebook specifically. My Twitter's okay, but I had this big platform on Facebook, and I was like, man, all these people that followed me, like, they're just does it just go away now? Like what happened? Like, just everyone just starts slowly not following you and getting rid of it. I was like, yeah, let's keep entertaining this for a little bit. So I did that, and then my girlfriend was like, hey, why don't you try TikTok? People get really big on there if you just talk about things that you enjoy, and if they enjoy it, I started looking, I was like, oh man, there's nobody in Mississippi even on TikTok, like talking about anything, for, big scale. And I was like, oh, let me do this. So I started doing that. And then it just turned into something that people enjoyed. And I was like, I guess I got to keep going.
Yeah, man. I like that. And like you said, that's one thing that attracted me to looking into your podcast is, like you said, we don't really have different things like that here in Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? That they're doing. It's not really sports. Hell, the mental stuff we talk about, stuff like that. So I like that.
And sometimes I'll get no views, but I did something that I enjoyed talking about. I did a video today that you may see later, and it was just like, wow, all the connections to Nick Saban in the college football playoff. It's going to get no views because my market's mainly Mississippi and it won't, expand. But it's like, oh, I like this. Maybe a few people will enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And as long as you do, that's the biggest thing, especially if you do. So you said you had like your core following was on Facebook. Just kind of let me know like where that originated and then kind of how it's evolved over time. Because when I got to the point of studying you're on a lot more than just Facebook. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do YouTube now. We do like a longer form, something like what you guys are doing here. But Facebook's really funny. You know who I have to give a lot of credit to for the Facebook? Look, obviously I got to stay entertaining and I got to, be engaging. I got to do stuff. And by the way, people always go, you're just doing this for clips. I mean everything I say on Facebook, whether it's controversial or not, I mean it. Like, I'm not lying. Like, that is my thought. I am not rage baiting. I'm none of that. This is my thought. And you just violently disagree with me, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, you know who I gotta thank? You know where I gotta thank? I gotta thank Deion Sanders. My Facebook exploded during his tenure with Jackson State.
I know it did.
Jackson State fans wanted Deion Sanders stuff 24/7. What was Shador's doing? What was Travis doing? Where was Deion fishing today? Whatever it was. And, my Facebook must have, I'd love to go back and look during that 3 year span, how my Facebook growth was during that little period. And then high school sports obviously is probably what I do the best on. But I think the combination of high school sports going on and Deion Sanders having his rise with Jackson State, the combination, and my Facebook just kind of exploded.
Yeah.
That's good, yo. You gotta,
Yeah.
he got experience Dion, so like Dion and
What was that like? You know what I'm saying?
I have not shied away. I think, there's two sides to this. One, I thought his time at Jackson State was really impactful for Jackson State. I thought it was impactful for the SWAC. I thought it was impactful for HBCUs. I mean, heck, college game days there for Southern Jackson State. How can you pretend and say it wasn't good for the school or the city or the state? I mean, look, Ole Miss, I think, has had college game day, once or twice, and Mississippi State once, that's a big deal that Jackson State was able to do that. But at the same time, I just did not enjoy him personally, like on the personal level. Just was not my guy. Just didn't appreciate some of the stuff that he was doing, like especially at the end when he just didn't show up to his press conference and left the whole, packed media room going. So there's two sides to it. I feel bad his health has kind of declined. I mean, nobody roots for that. And, we pray for him and we hope he gets healthy. And it looks like he's going to coach another season, at least for now. But sometimes some of the stuff rubbed me the wrong way, but I also recognize his impact was enormous, to say the least.
For sure. And then I also want to ask mentally for you, because you've mentioned a few times, your content is very open to opinions towards you, all that. And we know how people can get. How do you deal with that mentally?
Oh, this is the best question you've asked so far. All right. So this is good. This is good. So people always ask me that, like, I get texts sometimes saying, man, are you reading your comment section? I said, no, I'm not gonna go down there. Sometimes I read it. If I think that we're going to have a healthy debate, I'll go in the comment section and I'll debate people. So I just posted, who I think are the 10 best NFL or football players from Mississippi. I'll go through and debate it and that kind of stuff because it's going to be a healthy, fun debate, right? there are times where I post stuff that I know, okay, this is going to rile some people up when I say this. I'm not looking. I'm not responding. I'm not looking. I will not look at comment section for certain posts. There's just no way to do it. Because what was happening is I was reading them at, let's say, 7:30 p.m. Because if I read them during the day, it wasn't as bad. It's like when I read them at night, like right before I was going to sleep, I ended up just not going to sleep. Because, it starts to bug you, right? Because these comments, and sometimes you have to take a step back. They're about 90% untrue, right? Someone starts saying some really just nasty things. But the problem is they may say something that was like 10% true, and you're like, dang, like really? Does that make sense? Yeah, like that's a disgusting comment. 90% of that's not true, but man, there's a little bit of that. Like, man, I am a little self-conscious about that. Man, he hit a spot right there. So I had to stop just reading them. And, I was talking with the great Steve Robertson, who covers, Mississippi State. And he was like, man, those comment sections go great. And I looked at it, I said, don't read them. He goes, how do you do that? I'm just not going to read them. I just can't do it. I pick and choose which ones I want to read. I make a post about Archie Manning and Eli Manning walking down the street, and Eli's, helping his dad, walk down the street because Archie's kind of breaking down. I'll read those comments because there's some really nice comments. People like, oh my goodness, Archie was, a legend for me. Da, 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 da. But if I make a post, with the high school football rankings, I sometimes I just don't even look.
Got you.
Yeah.
Choose his battles wisely. That's smart. Got you.
Yeah, look, it's a blessing and a curse. I don't pretend because I talked to a lot of people about this. I was very vocal this year that Blake Shapen, the Mississippi State quarterback, should not be starting. Kamario Taylor should be starting over him. And I thought that Jeff Levy deserved to be fired. At the end of the year. Okay. How mean of comments? How mean is that of me to say it about them personally?
And
right? Like
that's the thing.
Like that's pretty mean. That's pretty mean of me to say, isn't it? Right. So I can't sit here and then say, oh, you can't make those comments about me. I'm sorry. I entered this stadium, and I'm going to give it. You can give it back to me. But just like Jeff Levy, who probably says, no, I don't read those comments. I can't read those comments.
Got you.
I like that.
I like it too.
And that takes a lot of discipline too, does it not? To stay out of us?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Jeff Levy gets paid, I don't know, $4 or $5 million to be a head football coach. Pretty lucky, right? He gets to get paid $4 to $5 million. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to take mean comments. That's just the price to pay. When you decide to be president, your wife and your kids are now all of a sudden under a microscope, and they're gonna get judged, and people are gonna talk about, Biden's kids, Trump's kids, Obama's daughters, right? Like people are gonna talk about them. I remember when Obama's daughter was caught at, what was he, smoking weed at Lollapalooza?
Yeah,
I'm like, who cares? Like, who cares? I was at that festival, by the way. It's like, who cares? But that's the world when, Barack Obama decides I'm going to go run for president, that everyone in his circle now is then open to that criticism, whether it's fair or not. So I have to then mentally check myself and go, okay, yes, it's going to bug me sometimes. How can I stay in the stadium of sports media, but also mentally keep myself together? It's going to help by limiting the reading the comment.
Yeah, isms. Good isms.
And that's good isms for us.
Yes.
We only average like 3 or 4 comments, but we've experienced some.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Well, I hope this one does good, but you got to start somewhere. I mean, look.
Yeah, most definitely.
I had an advantage, right? I had an advantage because I was already on local TV, right? So I guess when I started this hobby, like people had seen my face before. It's a lot tougher for you guys or other people that start and, their face isn't known throughout the state because of a previous thing. This is the real grind, what you guys are doing. My grind, of course, there was a grind to it, right? But it was a lot of years in the making. I had help from, being a part of a local TV stations. So for you guys, I mean, you guys definitely have a tougher grind than I do. So I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate that.
We appreciate you, man. Thank you. And let me ask you this. So how does being an outsider to Mississippi sports culture?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's any if it's better or worse, right? I mean, look, there's a guy by the name of Rion Young. I love Rion Young. He's one of my favorites. You know, he runs a lot of high school stuff. He works for 247. You know, he's from Louisville. And, you know, when Louisville is playing, I don't know if he can keep his mind, you know, from, you know, covering the thing with no bias, right? Because he's so locked into his thing. So I guess I don't have one of those, right? Like I don't have a school affiliation. I don't have favorites. I'll say whatever I want about anything, you know, but I also have to, you know, this is a different comment. I have to remember that these kids are under 18 sometimes. So, you know, there's a balancing act between, okay, I'm providing news, but then I'm also, maybe I'm going over the ledge here because it is high school sports at the same time. So I'll give you an example if you want. There was that fight during the private school football championships.
Uh-huh.
And I just wanted to know what the punishment for the coaches were. I don't care what the kids' punishment was. Right? Like kids get in fights all the time. I'm not into the kids' punishment. I post about it. I blacked out the kids' punishment, and then I posted the coach's punishment. Everyone else didn't do that. They just posted the kids' punishment with it. That's just my opinion. I'm going to take the kids' punishment out of it because that kid's 15 years old. Like, okay, he's already been embarrassed because this thing is on national news. It's on Barstool. It's on Shannon Sharp's podcast. And the kid's already been embarrassed. Why am I posting his punishment on there? Like, just, I don't know, but that's just me.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go to these questions, and then we'll go back up. Then since you brought that topic up, but yeah, go ahead, Tay.
I commend you for doing it because, you know, like you said, like everybody else was showing the punishment and you was like, no, what the coaches did. So I commend you not putting all that on the kids, especially, you know, with their kids being so on social media and stuff now too. So I commend you for that.
Look, here, I'll give you another example. Salem had a 49-game losing streak. They had won some games. They had a player that was ineligible. And I just said that the player was ineligible. I'm not going to name the kid. I knew who it was. I knew who the ineligible kid was. I'm not going to name him. And you know what? That kid then announced himself as the ineligible player and he apologized or well, whatever. And I'm like, wow, like if the kid wants to do it, fine. But like, it's not going to be me and people in the comments, which kid, what number, like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And if the kid wants to announce it, it's on him. If the school wants to announce it, it's on them.
So, what responsibility do content creators have when it comes to athletes that are minors? In your opinion?
Oh yeah, no. They have a big thing. Here's the catch-22 side of this thing, right? There are times though that I feel like the minor puts himself in position to where I got to treat you like a adult, right?
Give me an example.
Here's a good example. So Knox Kiffin goes under Trinidad Chambliss's Instagrams and says future Tiger. You know, dad just went to LSU and all that. I'm sorry, you've put yourself in the game. You know, when you do that stuff, you put yourself in it because your dad is Lane Kiffin, for God's sakes. You know, like he's Lane Kiffin. You know, your steps are going to be watched. You go there now. High school recruiting. I mean, look, it's a funny game, right? Because just because these kids are bigger than you doesn't mean that they're older than you. And, you know, I have to remind myself, man, this kid's 15, but he's 6'5", 300 pounds, but he's 15. He's 15. You know, he's got a 15 brain. He's just got a man's body on him. And I have to remind myself, you know, how to kind of like, okay, we got to remember that this is a minor. We're not going to, you know, abuse because but at the same time, you know, people want this stuff. They want it. So how do you balance that between people's wants and, oh, this kid's 15.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're a high school athlete, and you get NIL, you're an adult at that point, in my opinion.
Because it's money
getting
involved.
any sort of NIL pre-college. You're an adult. I mean, you're now a professional.
And so, have you ever reconsidered posting something due to the potential mental health impact?
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely regretted some posts. Some of them I'm like, man, maybe I should have done that a little bit differently. I'm trying to think of an example because there's definitely examples. I'd have to
Like
think about that
I
for a
have
moment.
one,
But yeah,
and it's just in my opinion because I thought about the kids on the post. I remember you posting about a team that like hasn't won a game in like forever, like in like a very long time. Do you remember a basketball team or something?
I've done it a few times. So yeah.
And it's a picture of the current roster. So in my mind, for me, if I'm on that current roster with the record of and whatever, as a person that's looking at the content, will I consider the other teams and stuff? Yeah. But what am I seeing? You know, I'm seeing these kids with an and whatever record. You know, this coach whose life is depending on these kids in this job, who's being plastered as a losing coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So there were 2 times that I've done that this past season when it came to football. So, well, I'll break those down if you like. One of them was the Salem, which had lost 49 straight. I did a video about them possibly breaking the record when it came to them. And yeah, that's definitely a touchy one, right? The video of that. The only, I guess, solace that I would say is I did make a video when they won their first 3 games, and I was like, wow, this is cool. It just came back and they won their first 3 games. And, that coach and I have a good relationship, after that video and all that. The other one was Riverside. They didn't score a point this whole year. I had never seen that before. So I was like, wow, this is really interesting. I've never seen a high school football team go a whole season and not score a single point. So I posted that. I don't think it's wrong to have your opinion with that, actually. That's where, when we talk about, oh, is it right or is it wrong? Well, I guess that's up for who interprets it. For me, like you said, I won't read the comments under those ones because I don't want to know. I made the post. I'm going to step away. And then, my girlfriend gave some good advice. If you're questioning if it's good or bad, maybe don't post it. You do enough good, or nobody's gonna know you didn't post it. Or so. Sometimes I have to think about that. I wouldn't say I regret those 2, but yeah, I definitely thought about them before I definitely did post it. I mean, there was definitely some thoughts.
Okay. And last one, as far as like the social media and stuff, how do you think rankings and dandy dozens and even like you said, now the NILs affect the mentals of these young athletes?
Yeah, are you asking like what I think about the rankings?
As far as like how that affects the kids mentally. For example, let's say you're a dandy dozen. That list comes out. Of course, you kind of expect it from the work you put in, this and the third. But now it's even more pressure. Now it's even more eyes on me through social media. Then let's say I do get an NIL. Now people think this is my job, and now I have to. You see what I mean? So how do you think that affects those kids mentally?
Yeah, I think there's more pressure on kids now than ever before, right? Because of those social media stuff. When it comes to the rankings, there's always been rankings, right? The Clear Ledger's been doing their rankings for, since they've kind of been around. So I don't think the rankings of teams is bad. I think actually those kids actually enjoy that. I actually think that they enjoy debating the ranking. When it comes to the dandy dozen stuff, yeah, I mean, that's going to obviously hurt some kids and it's going to hurt some people, because it's a list saying these are the 12 best. And then there's going to be people that are like, oh, really? Like this kid should be on that. My argument always is, well, who are you taking off, right? Because it's not the dandy 13, it's the dandy 12. So when you tell me, hey, this kid should be on this list, who are you taking off? Because there has to be somebody that comes off when you do that. And a lot of times their response is, oh, I don't know. I just think this kid should be. Well, that's a tough thing. I think the Dandy Dozen is a great list. I think it's fun. I think it's something that's been around for a long time. But I I absolutely agree with you that there has to be some mental impact for the kids that just barely missed that. I mean, that's a really fun thing because the amount of kids that are actually going to play in the NFL or slim, I mean, those kids that just miss are playing in college football anyways. I mean, it's not like they're not going to get at least a shot at whatever they're going for. But yeah, it has to be. It has to be. I mean, I know some people that are kids that I've met in the past that were very hurt. Like, man, how come I wasn't on it? I go, I don't do the list, but it's a tough list. I mean, there's 12 kids that make it.
Yeah. And like you said, you don't make that list. You just discuss the list and kind of, again, put your opinion out there. And I think that's the thing that people have to understand. And that's why we do this podcast, Blake, is because even with you doing what you do, we hope that from your episode, people see Blake. Yes, he has the Magnolia Shine podcast and that's successful, but we want them to see you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I am a real human being. A lot of people sometimes forget that. That's why they make the comments that they make. I'll tell you something interesting. I've never once had someone run up on me in person and say something mean. It's all behind the keyboard. It's never in person. There's a few people that comment mean stuff on every single post, and I kind of start laughing. I'm like, man, I must stay in your mind. I mean, come on now. Like, if you don't enjoy my page, why are you still here? But I enjoy them too, because you know what they do when they comment? They help me out. So
there you go. Using my enemies as my stepping stool. So should ethical boundaries exist in high school sports coverage? Because I kind of feel like we're getting away from them because of the social media, because of the access to the athletes, because of people not seeing them as people, etc.
yes, I think absolutely there should be boundaries. I don't like the coaches or recruiters that go into kids, and they're always bugging them. Oh, what you thinking? What you thinking? What you thinking? And it gets a little too much. At some point, these kids have to pass a math quiz or, an algebra 2 class. They can't be responding at 12:03 p.m. to your recruiting question. Shouldn't they be trying to figure out this algebra 2 class? So yeah, I do think that there should be boundaries. If the kids themselves want to keep responding and all that, then that's their choice too, right? I mean, the kids have some control, but the problem is there's no media between them. It's not like, oh, I'm going through the mom to the kid. Mom says, oh yeah, you can send him a message. No, it's just a direct message to the kid. And you kind of go around that. But I think a lot of parents, they worry about it, but they're also very excited their kid is getting a lot of love, right? I mean, why wouldn't a parent want their kid to be wanted?
Here. I'm a teacher, Blake. So when you say what you said, that spoke volumes to me because I'm very strong on student athlete. And you don't know how many of these athletes are not studious.
Well, there's a reason that they put student before athlete. They don't call it an athlete student.
Yeah, most definitely. What would you say directly to like struggling athletes or teams that are listening that are struggling and stuff like that?
Okay. What would I say? Well, welcome to life. There's going to be winners and losers in this thing, but what you can control is, your work ethic and what you do. Very rarely are kids going to get missed recruiting anymore. There's just so much video. There's so much social media. Like, there's so many camps. There's so many things. Why is my son not getting recruited? Well, it may not be that level. If you're 5'9", 130 pounds, I don't care that he scored 3 touchdowns. That's not what the college coach is looking at. You have control of certain things in life, and then you don't have control of others. I wanted to be an NBA basketball player. I'm 5'11". I'm sorry. I'm not, that wasn't going to happen. I don't even know if there's a player under 6 foot in the NBA anymore. There used to be a couple, but now I don't even know if they're there anymore. I can't control that. But what I can control is doing my own personal work, right? And doing the things that I'm supposed to do. Uh, Nick Saban, and I tell kids this all the time. Nick Saban said something, it's called the illusion of choice. In life, we think we have all these choices when we really don't. You know, you could go to work and throw a punch at somebody, but what would happen? You would be fired, right? So you have the choice to go do something like that, but that's an illusion of a choice because you really don't have a choice to go do that. So when you come to practice and you don't run hard, and when you don't do the things that you're supposed to do, when you don't go to the classroom, you have the choice to do that, but that's an illusion of a choice. You really don't have a choice if you want to be successful, if you want to get what you want to get, you don't have a choice. There's just a path to do it.
Blake,
You okay? You all right? Music to your ears, ain't it?
think I need a tissue.
You should go watch
said
it.
something.
Nick Saban talks about what the illusion of choice. He said, and he talks about it. He talks, I can tell a kid every single day, hey, I need you to be in this part of the field. When the ball is snapped, I need you to run as hard as you can to this part of the field. If he refuses to do it, then that's his choice. But he doesn't really have a choice because the next guy comes in and plays.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to study that. You know how much of a breakthrough that really would be for coaches mentally, for one.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Right. And just explaining. Yeah. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. And no, I think it's a great thing for coaches, right? Because just convincing your kids that yes, we have free will. You do. You could show up late to practice every single day. Go ahead and do it, right? You have that choice. But you're not free of the consequence. That's just sadly.
And so what's next for Blake and the Magnolia Shine podcast? Whether that's intertwined
we're
or
gonna
it's two
add
separate things.
Yeah. We're gonna add a little bit to the YouTube channel starting January 1st. We're gonna add some more stuff to it, beyond just the kind of couple day a week show. When it comes to my TikTok and my Facebook, I'd like to try to maybe bring someone on and help run the Magnolia Shine podcast Facebook, because I already run my Facebook. So I kind of need somebody to kind of run that. I mean, if there's a kid that's really in the game, maybe they want to come do it. So that's kind of where the changes are. I think I just kind of want to maybe expand it a little bit, right? Because I do a lot of football. I do some basketball. I do a little, some baseball, but maybe finding some kids that are really in the basketball scene and baseball scene and maybe, bringing them into the Magnolia Shine podcast where they can do it, because some of those kids may just know more about the basketball scene than I do. Not that I don't know it. I mean, I know the scene pretty well. I could probably list all the dandy dozen players right off the top of my head. But at the same time, there are some kids that might be like, hey, they may know some areas. So just trying to see, what makes sense.
Yeah, and while he's speaking on that dandy dozen list, I do want to give flowers. Cam is on the boys list. Cameron Hampton, Mia's brother. Yeah. Shout out Mia and Cam, especially Cam, for being on that list. But yeah.
Well, and then there's also a Jada on the girls' side.
Yeah, which should have been years back, but that's something we'll talk about another time. So we didn't do it earlier because I kind of wanted you to get a little comfy. You seem a little more relaxed. So we always give people an opportunity to talk your talk. And what that little segment is, it's an opportunity for you to let loose and kick your shoes off, Blake. Take your hat off. Let the folks know whatever it is you want them to know. We've had folks talk about video games. We've had folks let folks know when they get up off the injury list, they coming. We've had folks let folks know they gonna give them BTA, all types of
All
stuff,
types
man.
of stuff, man.
So
Promotions and
yeah, promotion.
it's really whatever you want to
Yeah,
say.
man. So this is Blake's moment. Yeah. So this is your moment, Blake, to talk your talk.
All right. It's going to be really short and sweet. I don't hate your high school. I don't hate your high school. I promise you I don't. Like everyone thinks I hate your high school. All 330 think I hate their school at some point because I didn't pick them any given week. I don't hate your high school. I like them all the same.
I like it. I like that.
You know, people think I like when I pick against a school, I hate the school, and I'm like, what? Like I don't hate any school. It's just a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then lastly, let folks know, like, where they can follow you, how they can support you, stuff like that.
Okay, so you can go to my Facebook, it's Blake Levine Sports Reporter, or you can go to the Magnolia Shine Podcast Facebook. On TikTok, it's magnolia.shine.podcast. But if you just type in Magnolia Shine Podcast, it's going to pop up. You'll see my face with the John Deere hat because I'm balding. And then YouTube, Magnolia Shine Podcast, same thing. My Twitter is just at Blake_Levine. And that's where you can find me. I'm on social media. That's where I'm at. Nowhere else.
That And then this is the last question I got before we get up out of here, man. This is a personal question that's been on my mind. It ain't even sports related. So from you coming to Mississippi, man, what's your go-to meal now? Like it's a Mississippi meal. Like I ain't talking about no, you said Chinese and stuff. No, it's from here.
The best steak in the world is at Doe's in Greenville. No doubt in my mind. It might be $100, but that ribeye, that 3-pound ribeye that they give you, that's the best right there.
We're gonna have to go check that out. Say who it is again?
Doe's eatery place or whatever, but it's Doe, DOE''S, Doe's in Greenville, Mississippi. It's expensive, so when you go, you know you're gonna spend a little money. But they got a wet salad, they got the tamales, they got the 3-pound ribeye. You're gonna take some home with you. It's pretty good.
Oh man, we thought you was taking us down. We thought you was inviting us. Sure.
Okay, fine, deal.
I
At
like
some
that.
point.
There it is. All right, man. But look, we definitely do appreciate you coming on here. We appreciate your insight because one thing is, it's refreshing to find somebody that does social media content that tries to do it in a manner where you can balance out and try and avoid that negative impact that it can have on athletes. And on top of that, for you to be bringing that positivity and that type of message to Mississippi, man. So I love it.
And I appreciate it. Look, sometimes it's going to be negative because sometimes something bad happens and, you know, whether it's death or something bad, you know, and sometimes I do cover the fights, but people got to remember that 95% of what I'm going to put out is probably going to be positive, and that's the whole point of doing it.
For sure.
Man. And keep going, man. Keep going.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But again, Blake, man, we appreciate you. Y'all make sure y'all check out the Magnolia Shine podcast. That's across all social media platforms. Like he said, even before now, I've been digging into you, man. He got some stuff on YouTube right now, but definitely after the first of the year, you make sure that you go and you check that stuff out on YouTube, man. And y'all just keep growing this podcast because I think it's a very beautiful, important aspect to Mississippi sports. Yeah.
Thank you.
For sure, man. But my name is Jada Rich. This is Hoops and Headspace, the podcast where mental health and sports intersects. Who we got?
I'm your co-host, Tay.
And we got our boy,
Blake Levine.
There we go, man. We up out of here, man. We appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you.